Hey, let me be the first to say Happy Thanksgiving to everyone outside of Appleton, all across the nation, all across the world. It's time for Week 12 of the NFL Primetime Picker. Of course, I'm going to have my associate outside who is watching the parade going on. So, hey, Pete the Rock 2002, can you hear me? Hey, Pete the Rock 2002, I'm hearing you live, loud and clear. As you can see, this is the parade that's going on right now. It's going to be one wild night. Yeah, I can't wait to see those floats. Well, I mean, first up on the topics is going to be the firing of Brad Childress from the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, is it ironic that two teams fired their coaches after being beaten by one? Or am I just being skeptical and saying maybe they're not showing their performance? Now, I want to say it is a combination of both Green Bay beating two teams who have losing records, but all in all, it's pretty much a wash when it comes to why both Wade Phillips and Brad Childress have been excused from their teams by Jerry Jones and Ziggy Welch, and with the new recruits. But when you look back at Sunday's game, mostly you realize why Brad Childress is gone, because he wanted Brett Favre back. He had gone down to southern Mississippi in order to bring him back, and so far it looks like it's backfiring on him. So, in a sense, you know, going with the best solution, go with the oldest quarterback, is not the way to go. Of course, these teams are younger, the pressure, they're going to be all over the place. Now, let's not jump off the Vikings ship just yet. Keep in mind that when Wade Phillips was fired by Jerry Jones and replaced by Jason Garrett, well, the Cowboys have gone 2-0. I mean, they're starting their own comeback. Are we seeing the same thing with former defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier? Well, I wouldn't be so fast to judge on that one. Keep in mind that among the last 6 games of the season, Minnesota only has 2 of them that are probably favored. They got one against Buffalo, and they got one against Detroit at the season's end. But I mean, I get your point. Jason Garrett, who now controls the Cowboys, 2-0 so far this season. But you know, I don't see success as meaningful. They got that game against New Orleans on Thursday, and I don't see this as much as a win-win situation for Jones and Wilf to go with different interim coaches. Okay, next topic. Richard Seymour of the Oakland Raiders punching out Ben Roethlisberger, and now I heard he's been punished. Was he even suspended for Pete's sake? I mean, I don't think he was. Yeah, Richard Seymour has been punished. $25,000 for the hit on quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. But you know, as far as game suspension, the report says that he did serve a suspension by being thrown out of the game that he played, when he slugged Roethlisberger. Now, in his defense, he said that there was a natural reaction when Roethlisberger grazed him. Yeah, I'm saying it is a graze, but you know, that's not excusable in any means. He did slug him pretty well, and I mean, James Harrison, he's the one to talk. He's been fined more than $100,000 this season for all of his hits. That's great. Now I got here I got 2 items on here on the same topic. One is football and baseball. Now keep in mind that there were 2 games played over the weekend. You had Army against Notre Dame over at the new Yankee Stadium, and then you had Northwestern hosting Illinois over in Wrigley Field. And well, the bizarreness in Wrigley Field is what really captivated this weekend, and the rule change. Do we see that in the future? Well, not in my future, but if I had to say something, with the upcoming Pinstripe Bowl coming up in New Yankee Stadium, you know, I see that as a bit of a praise. Unlike what happened in Wrigley. Now, if you remember, Friday, the day before the game, the Big Ten commissioner looked at the field, realized that the back end zone, but the Big Ten, okay. Now the Big Ten commissioner, I'm not going to name, examined the field over at Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois for the Illinois Northwestern game. And when he saw the field, he did not appreciate the backfield, which is the outfield, the east end zone, being not long enough for upon safety concerns. And what they did is that instead of having the casual go one way first quarter, go the other way second quarter, the offense went one way, and the only way you can be scored to the outfield is on a punt return or a kick return or an interception. Now the new Yankee Stadium, that's been known to have some to be pretty big, and it's proven that it can hold a football field. Now, if I had a suggestion for our Big Ten commissioner, my suggestion would be, I don't know, have a college football game at Miller Park. I mean, Milwaukee, Wisconsin might provide another stadium like they did in Packers. Now, am I discrediting Wrigley Field because it doesn't have a big field anymore? I mean, I could be. I mean, it was once a football field for the Chicago Bears. But, what the new field is now, not quite. So, we can scrap that. Go, and stick with Miller Park, of course. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, Miller Park sounds like a better idea. Not really Wrigley Field. U.S. Cellular Park, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, come on, man, omitted one that I think should be brought up, and not the whole why so serious, but the Eli Manning fumble. And I mean, it's pretty much, well, how would you say this? Quarterback 101 on this part. I mean, that's not how it's supposed to go, right? You're not supposed to dive. Football etiquette 101 for quarterbacks. When you want to down a ball, when you're running it, you slide feet first, not dive head first. And that's the problem with Eli Manning. He tried to dive forward for the end zone. Now, if it was, like I said, if it was to the end zone, it's one thing. But he was like 40-something yards away from the promised land, and he dives. Now, if he was touched, it was close because he wasn't touched until after he lost the ball. Well, and as soon as the whistle blew, Philadelphia already covered. But if you ask me, I think that was a bad decision by Eli on himself. Oh, now, am I recommending this for all quarterbacks? I am, especially the pros. It's unusual for a quarterback to go head first when you're trying to stop the play. Well, now it's time for my predictions, and I will give mine. I'm going to give my nods because I'm going to give 6 predictions this week. I'm only one of those. Of course, the World Series. This time we're going up north. We're giving a little CFL action. So here are my picks for Week 12 plus the Grey Cup. Well, it's another 2 and 3 week for me. And after 11 weeks, it's 30 and 25. Although not a bad record. I wish it could have been better. Talking about a miserable week. Although I should say I should have been better choosing of my upset and primetime specials. Although it was the same game. But anyway, let's move on to Thursday as we gobble up a couple of games. First off is the first afternoon Thanksgiving game in Detroit, where the Patriots make turkey out of the Lions, 36-13. Brady should throw 3 touchdown passes at least, and not much of an offense for the Lions. Probably a couple of touchdowns. No, not a couple of touchdowns. Probably one to Calvin Johnson, but the only one. Then The 2-game winning streak for Dallas will come to an end on Thursday when the Saints come to town. And when the Saints go marching in, especially with Drew Brees at the helm, expect there to be plenty of scoring. And it's going to be close, so I'm going to say 26-23 over Kitna and the Cowboys. Then, speaking of winning streaks coming to an end, we move to Sunday, where the Bills host the Steelers, and Big Ben is going to throw another stellar game as the Steelers destroy the Bills 35-8. 8 points. So much for the Ivy League quarterback. My upset special takes place in the South as the Packers go to the Georgia Dome and ruffle Matt Ryan's feathers and the Falcons 27-26. Rodgers throwing 2 touchdowns at least, while Brandon Jackson runs for 1. But I should beware of Matt Ryan's keen arm. Finally, it's my primetime special, where Lucas Oil Stadium will have rubber gloves ready for San Diego. Peyton Manning will discharge the Chargers 34-17. So, I'm not saying much there. A couple of double-up score, and I'm saying it will be a 60% performance by Manning, throwing two touchdowns while the defense holds the ground. Well, I got one more prediction in mind. This one takes place in Edmonton for the CFL Grey Cup. Now, it's different from the NFL with the different rules, the 3 downs instead of the 4, the rouge instead of just the ordinary touchback. But regardless, my prediction is that the Alouettes of Montreal are going to repeat as champions. Gentil Alouette! 51-36 over the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So here are those predictions again. We have the Patriots, the Saints, the Steelers, his upset special, the Packers, his primetime special, the Colts, and his Grey Cup special, the Montreal Alouettes. So now here's a look at next week, and hopefully you guys get to vote. We enter week 13 in December, so get ready to bundle up, everyone in the north. In the south, don't worry about weather. You've got your own sun to worry about. But anyway, Thursday night, the Texans go to Lincoln Financial Field to battle Michael Vick and the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to sit down and nab. I don't know why. And I'm not going to predict anything because you haven't voted yet. But that's the Thursday night game on the NFL Network. Then it's confirmed that Sunday night NFL will have the Pittsburgh Steelers going to the M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland, taking on Joe Stacco and the Ravens. Who knows what Week 14 will provide? Maybe it will have the schedule on tap. But let's not go there yet and go right to Monday night. Round 2 between the Jets and the Patriots. Round 1 went to New York. Could round 2 in Gillette Stadium belong to Brady and the Patriots? His bunch against Rex Ryan. That should be a good one. Well, that's going to do it for in here. This is Peter Hamby, and this is Pete the Rock 2002. Wishing you everyone a happy Thanksgiving.